think a lot of people see hunters as killers that go out and you're just killing animals for the sake of killing. It's getting less and less common. Young people are getting less and less into it. It's becoming more of a stigmatism than anything else. My father was always a hunter. He was born actually pretty poor on a farm. So they hunted as a means of getting food in the house. They had their own cattle. He was a butcher, so he knew how to do all that stuff. And just growing up, he used to always take me out into the bush for small partridge hunts and things like that, small game, just to kind of see what it was about and get me rolling. And I fell in love with it from an early age and have been hunting ever since. So these are my 4 basic guns if you're going to do any type of hunting. This is a .22. It shoots short and long rifle, which is just the size of the shot. Put 1 shot in there, close it up, pull this back, which is unusual. They don't make guns like that anymore. And then when you pull the trigger, that'll hit your firing pin and shoot the round out. It's a pretty straight shooting gun. It's nice, but it just shoots tiny little bullets and doesn't make much of a sound.
For like varmint.
Yeah, for smaller stuff like rabbit and partridge and whatever else. Yeah. You can't hunt coyote and you can't hunt deer with it. It's definitely inhumane if you hunt deer with it. It's not big enough. We believe very strongly in certain things. Everybody that I hunt with in the family that we go out together, we all have the same mindset about it. It's a big thing in my family and a big thing in the group that I hunt with, that you use as much of the meat as you can and as much as the animal as you can. I'm usually the one who keeps the hides. I like to try to preserve the hides. I have a little bit of native blood in me, so I don't know if it's that, but I like to try to use as much as I can from the animal. That's why I'm not a huge predator hunter. I usually don't like taking the lives of things that I don't eat, but there is a conservationist kind of aspect to it where the coyote population right now is overgrown. So you almost have to bite the bullet and do your part, because we're seeing less and less deer and less moose, which is less ways for me to provide for the ones we love, and it's hurting our chances of getting our meat every year. Most important part of hunting, snacks. If you get hungry out there, there's no point, you're not even paying attention anymore. Always should bring snacks, water. If you're staying out for a long time, I would have a flashlight, a compass. I don't know, you could even get a flare gun if you're bear hunting. You'd want a few other things, but a little bit of camo is good. You always want to have camouflage. It's not crazy important. Normally the coyotes come far away. They're pretty good at detecting your scent, so I could descent all my clothes and stuff. But like I said, I'm not a huge predator hunter, so I'm not fully set up for it. It's important to me because I feel that it's my right to provide my family with food that comes from a natural state. 50 years ago, that's how they did it. Our eyes are in the front of our head. Predators in all around the world, wolves, bears, sharks, doesn't matter. If you're a predator, you have your eyes here. If you're prey, you have your eyes in the side of your head. Because deer, when they're eating, need to see around them, to see what's coming for them. If we weren't meant to hunt, we wouldn't have eyes in the front of our head. Hunting was never looked down upon or frowned upon until the boom of the grocery stores. Everybody was all about convenience, but for us, it's a way of life, and it's more of a health choice, like anything else, like vegetarian or vegan. We choose to know where our food comes from. Our particular hunting group butchers our own deer, which means we process the whole thing from start to finish. We package it up, we split it up in between ourselves. Nothing goes to anybody else's. We are the only ones who touch our meat. I'd like to know where it's been, what I'm putting into myself, my wife, and my future children. A lot of people are like, oh, that's gross, but they don't actually see how it's packaged. They're beautiful cuts of meat. We do them ourselves, so you can cut the steaks any size you want. That's a sirloin steak there. There's 2 of them in there, and you marinate that for a couple days. So fresh. Never find anything better. And then all the other ground and stuff goes in butcher wrap like that. We do a lot of ground. We don't do sausages or pepperettes. We just split it up the best way we can between the guys. All the old guys like the ground because it's easy to cook, so we do a lot of that.
You barbecue?
Oh yeah, big time. Big venison barbecue every year. there's a huge social aspect to it. When we go out hunting, let's say for deer, for instance, it's a 5-day, that's our season. We have a 5-day controlled rifle hunt. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of tags to buy and licensings and things like that. You got to be willing to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and meet all the guys. But once you get into your part of the family, it's huge. I look forward to deer season more than I look forward to Christmas. It's the time I get to gather around with people I love, and in the end you get a means of providing yourself, and you don't get a lot of satisfaction like that these days, I find. Whether you're religious or not, I always say a prayer to God after I take the life of an animal. I have nothing but respect for the animals that I harvest. I think deer are beautiful. And I always get asked the question, how do you take the life of something that you think is beautiful? But you have to understand, we take it as a serious thing, but it's not a wasteful thing. It's a Sunday afternoon, so we've been out here for a couple hours. Gave a few good calls. Normally, if they're there and around and curious and hungry, they come out right away. It's not a perfect time for the day. Normally I would like a really early hunt for coyote, or like dusk, like just end shooting light kind of. That's the best time for them. So we didn't see anything today. It's just like fishing. Sometimes you catch and sometimes you don't. And we didn't even see a dog today. So we just bought a house here and we made sure it was in the country to a certain degree, having the means to live sustainably by having the land, to have a garden, to have a spot to bring the deer, and just having a spot to put a big freezer so we can hold our meat. The accessibility of it is huge. I don't want to have to drive an hour to get to a hunting spot kind of thing. And we have a dug well here. We don't pay for our water. So if anything ever goes to crap, I want to be able to know that I can support my family off of what I have, what I own, my land, my property. Starting off with a small garden and things like that, but eventually it'd be nice to go to the grocery store less and less. For the most part, as self-sustainable as we can get is the goal.